What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Lucid Daily, and today we actually have quite a bit of drama that we need to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive into everything. First off, we'll start off with the price action, then we'll get into the drama, my thoughts around it, and three different things that I think are involved in this sort of drama, let's call it. So let's go ahead and dive into the stock action today. So I actually did move my iPad to my right hand side now, so I don't have to write left-handed anymore. So as you can see, Lucid was down 3.6% today. I don't know if the drama that happened today had too much to do with it because the article didn't really come out for 3 hours or so, until about 3 hours ago, and the market's been closed since then. So I don't think that had too much to do with it. I just think Lucid just had a really bad day today. They're now below $15 a share. They are trading for $14.61. All right, then you go to Rivian, and Rivian actually had the opposite day. They were up 3.5% today, up 1/3% in the after hours. They had a relatively good day today as well. And if you compare the market caps, I just like to kind of keep track of them. 30 billion to Lucid's 24 billion. For a while there, Lucid was ahead of Rivian, but it does look like Rivian has slightly pulled ahead. Next, we have Tesla. Tesla was up 1.5% today, down 1/4% in the after hours, and a market cap of 859 billion. So Tesla, there really wasn't too much EV news today. So let's go ahead and dive into exactly what happened, what this drama is, and exactly what I think is going on with it. First off, it's Business Insider, and I had to pay a $1 fee to read this article. I strongly don't like Business Insider. They have a way of stretching the truth, saying things that aren't the truth. I really don't like supporting them, but I bought this article just because I did feel like I had to read what they had to say. I kind of fell for their clickbait. They got me, but so I could present it in a way that you guys didn't have to pay for it, and so that I could and understand what they were saying. So it starts off by saying Lucid has lost 6 high-level manufacturing executives in a few weeks as it struggles to ramp up production and overhauls its logistic playbook. One of the key words that we're going to be focusing on is lost. How did they lose them? Were they fired? Did they quit? Did they get poached? I don't know. That's definitely something that we'll be figuring out when we go through this. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to highlight it as we go. I've read through this like 1.5 times, but I think it's important that you understand it. There's quite a bit of meat in this article. So there's been 6 manufacturing high-level hires that have left Lucid Motors in the recent weeks as electric vehicle startup races to get more cars off the production line. And there's actually been more than that. Over the last couple of months, we've seen a number of higher-up employees leave, and that's been really interesting. Current and former employees told Lucid Insider. So even people inside Lucid have leaked this to Business Insider. So we'll go through all of these in just a minute, exactly who left and why they left and like what their positions were. So these were from Arizona's production factory. So these were all, from what I understand, local to Arizona, which is where they're ramping their production, as most of you know. And the people that leaked this information obviously were granted anonymity, meaning that they didn't want to be named or things like that. So let's talk about exactly what's going on. So sources were mixed on how the departures will impact Lucid. Fresh blood and thinking it could help start up along, but the disruption could hold it back. So this may actually cause for a really bad Q3, and we may not even see all the effects until Q4. And I'm going to get into this after I get through the articles. Definitely stay till the end of the video because I'll go through my pros and cons of exactly why this may be a really good thing, like a blessing in disguise, or why this may be Lucid's worst nightmare. So here's who left. The VP of global manufacturing. You have the VP of programs, the head of Arizona operations, new product introduction program management, David Peel, and he's actually a little bit more important, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Not more important. Senior manager, logistics engineering. And this is the word that came up a lot in the last earnings call, logistics. So that is super important to pay attention to. And it could be a blessing. So let's just see. And then director of operational excellence. Now, something that kind of catches my eye as I read this aloud is a lot of these, I would say, let's say, so this job sounds very like this job sounds like has a relative fair amount of weight behind it, like relatively important. Global manufacturing, it's obviously fairly important. VP of programs. What is VP of programs? I have no idea. That's kind of an odd job. Head of Arizona operations. So you manage the managers. Like I understand, but I feel like Peter's in Arizona a lot. Like I could definitely see how this could be. I'll explain what I'm getting to. This job could be interesting as well. head of new product introduction and program management. Well, they've introduced 7 new products in the last year, like a year and a half. So, kind of important. They're not introducing any. The only thing that like they'll have to really introduce is Project Gravity, but that's not for a while. Senior manager logistics engineer. This guy just may have been doing a bad job, and they may have fired him. Director of operational excellence. Like, what is that? Like, making sure we're doing a good job at work. These are the ones that I circled. The one. So there's 4. This should be blue. The 4 in blue kind of seem like extra padding. They kind of seem like they're getting paid a lot of money to not do a lot of work. So we have seen almost every single company, either pause hiring or start layoffs, Tesla included. And guess what kind of workers they were laying off? They weren't laying off the factory workers. They were laying off 10% of white-collared workers, meaning people that were kind of had duplicate jobs or people that weren't necessarily providing as much value as they could have. So I would not be surprised if Lucid had to lay off some of these people, because we know they're burning a lot of cash. We know they're having to raise money. We know that when the economic turns down, a lot of people tend to lay off just because it helps support the company in down times. And a lot of these jobs seem like cush jobs, like jobs that, like I said, are paid a lot to not do a lot of work. Now, I could be wrong on that, just my opinion. And this guy, he may have just been doing a bad job. With how many times I talked about logistics, he may have just been doing a bad job, and he may have just gotten fired. This guy included. This was another one that I thought was relatively cush. But this guy, he could have gotten fired or he could have gotten poached. I don't know what happened to him, but these sound like they could be layoffs, and I don't know why Lucid hasn't said anything. So that's just my opinion. Let's continue. Champion acknowledged his departure to Lucid to Insider, but did not comment further, nor did Peel, whose LinkedIn indicates he now works at Nikola. And I'll show you a screenshot, but this is true. I verified this. He does now work at Nikola. So Peel was I drew all over, David Peel, head of new product introduction. So I don't know. And so none of these guys made any comments and anything like that, except for Champion, who did acknowledge his departure to Insider. So no comment there. So then they talk about how much they lacked production on the earnings call. I won't read this word for word. You guys can pause. You guys can either pause the video and keep going, or you can either pause the video and read it, but I don't need to read all of this for you guys. But here they just talk about, I don't know, my pen's being all weird. They just talk about how Lucid lacked production and how Rawlinson decided that he wanted to keep moving things forward, and how their logistics process introducing a new series of improvements to simplify the system and yet make it more efficient and robust. So they just keep talking about how like their logistics need to get better. So none of this surprises me. I wish Lucid was more public about it if they were layoffs, because they kind of just need to face the market how it is and not worry about their stock-based compensation, which I think is a fairly large factor, unfortunately. Well, not anymore, at least. So this is David Peel. He did leave. You can see he left from Lucid, and he left to Nikola, which is just down the street from Casa Grande to Coolidge. So he didn't have to relocate very far, or if he did, it's a fairly easy move. Now, I know a lot of people in the Lucid community despise Warren Redlich, but I actually admire a lot of the perspective he brings, even though it may be heavily skewed in one, even though it may be sometimes dramatic or overstated. I do really like the perspective that he brings, because I think he brings up a lot of good points, and I feel like he's a lot more realistic than people want to give him credit for. I think people just slam him because it's super easy to do. But one, I really like his Tesla takes. And I really do think he's valuable to the Lucid community in the fact that he brings up the things that people don't want to talk about, which is why I appreciate them. Even though sometimes they may be considered extreme, I do think he brings up important points. And so he's like, hey, look, like, I like to jump on Lucid, but Business Insider is not trustworthy. Like I said, I don't like Business Insider, but the fact that they have a couple of sources and that they can kind of back up what they're saying with LinkedIn, and they have another source confirming it, I do tend to believe that this article is majority true. It could be it could be partly false, but I believe majority true. It's not bad. And like I said, these may have been layoffs. We don't know. The real issue is if they can scale and get costs down, meaning like, where do they go from here? Are they going to are they starting from zero? Are they going to get better from here, or are they going to get worse? So I think that this is a good point as well. And then he did say that the PIF did sell their stock, and that's a much bigger story. I actually commented on this and I asked him to say where that is, because if that is true, then that's definitely something we're gonna have to talk about, and that's something we'll talk about tomorrow. So let's talk about why I think this is good and why I think this is bad. So if these are layoffs, less salary, less stock-based compensation, they may have just been fired. Like, they may have just been bad performing. And if you have a company where you're trying to scale, you cannot afford to have bad performance, because you're just not going to scale. It's fairly obvious why you don't want to have bad performance. And Rawlinson may be cleaning house. He may just, these kind of go hand in hand, but he may just be like, all right, like, we are sucking right now. Like, let's get the crap out. And like, even if you guys were doing an okay job, we need new blood in here. Like, you guys got us to where we're at. Thanks, but we need people that actually know what we're doing now. So Rawlinson may have been cleaning house. Here's why it's bad, but this also could be a good thing as well. Starting from zero, like I was saying, and like Warren was saying up here, this could be an opportunity to really know how to get people that know how to scale a company. Or it could just be an opportunity to be like, okay, like, this sucks. Like, we're off to a bad, like, we're zero. We don't have anybody to lead us really that has done this before. And the other question that comes to mind is like, is Rawlinson not doing a good job? Are people leaving? Because like I said, these could have I'll bring it up down here a little bit, but they could have been fired, they could have quit, or they could have been poached. And if they quit because they don't agree with Rawlinson's vision of quality over quantity, that is a very real thing. And that may be something that Rawlinson really wants, but other people don't. And it just means they don't have it could mean they don't have their act together. Like, if these people are leaving, if they quit, then it means that maybe like they don't see a future. Like, their stock compensation is not going to grow. I'm learning that a lot of these executives are really in it because they have a really fat stock compensation package. And it's like, hey, like, we're down. Like, what is Lucid from their all-time highs? Lucid, their all-time highs, they're down like, let's see, like 73%. So it could just be like, hey, like if it could just maybe just they don't have any hope for the future, which is obviously really bad. You don't want that. If you're a publicly traded company, you want people to be there because they believe that the stock is going to do well. So do I believe this article? I personally believe that it's majority true, because they do cite a couple sources. One, they have one comment. We don't have like any like evidence of that comment, but they also do have the LinkedIn thing showing. And we've seen a couple of other not key people, but big higher up employees leave Lucid in the past. We checked their LinkedIn. There was that one comment. These kind of just go hand in hand. They should have been like sub from this, so that's my bad. And like I said, this is not the first time we've seen other key employees leave. Questions I have. Let's talk about these. These are really important. Were they fired? If they were fired, good. Peter Rawlinson's cleaning house. If they quit, that means they don't have very much hope for the future of the company. If they were poached, then it just means Lucid is either laying off and people are giving them higher job offers, or Lucid is reducing salary. I don't know. But usually when you want to lay off, or if you want to cut expenses, I can't remember what I was listening to. It was Patrick David Bett, and he was saying, no, it was Dave Ramsey. That's what it was. Dave Ramsey was like, well, like if we have no cash flow, then we start asking like, okay, which executives can start to reduce their pay before they have to lay people off? It could be like that. I don't know. That's kind of an extreme example. I think I would like to think that this is the highest probability. This is the second one, and the third one is being poached, just because I don't really think that that's what happened. The other questions I have is, are they leaving because they don't like Peter Rawlinson? Do they not like Rawlinson's vision of quality over quantity? Because they don't like the low production numbers, things like that. The other question I have is there no belief within the company? Is there bad morale? Like, if your top executives are leaving, think how like the employees under them felt, or like even the factory workers, where it's like, whoa, the executives are leaving. Why are they leaving? And like, how do I feel about my job? So bad morale, terrible for a company. And I really think that these things are going to manifest themselves in Q3, but more so in Q4. We're going to see how this really affects them. So I would tell you guys to consider all these things. It's natural for these things to happen in a recessionary environment. If they're layoffs, then it's natural. If they're quitting, then we have some things to talk about. And if Warren Redlick responds to me with a source of what if the Saudi Arabian private investment fund actually sold their shares. That's definitely something we'll be talking about tomorrow, because that is, I think, something really important. If you guys haven't yet, consider subscribing, because I try to bring my best, try to bring as much value to you guys as possible. Both pro Lucid and obviously things in contrary. I think I put myself into the space to bring you guys the most truth I can. I don't want to just hype Lucid up or anything like that, because I do think that there are definitely a lot of things that they can work on. There's a lot of things that I do see a lot of potential with this company, but I also do think that there are things that we can learn from, and I think that that's important. And if you guys haven't yet, consider joining the link down below. If you want to join my Discord, where you can see my private buy and sells for all of my stocks. Even though I don't interact as much with you guys as I should in the comments, I am always in Discord, replying to you guys if you guys have questions in there, or if you guys want to know what I'm buying or selling in terms of the stock market, because believe it or not, I don't just buy Lucid stock. I buy other stocks. I sell other stocks. So if you guys want to stay up to date with that, consider joining the link down below. The prices are going to go up on Friday. So if you're interested in that, definitely snag the course before Friday, because that's when prices will go up. So if you guys have any sort of questions, leave them down in the comments. Hit me up in Discord and let's chat there. I'm available there almost 24/7. And like always, I appreciate the support. If you haven't yet, consider subscribing, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.